We'd like to have a presentation from Apollo High School. Principal Adam Holm, along with high school students and staff, will present information and highlights about Apollo High School. Information is attached. Mr. Holm.
Thank you so much for having us here this evening, Superintendent Jett and School Board. We're here to talk to you about what we feel is a premier high school in central Minnesota, Apollo High School. As you can see from our demographics, we're very diverse and we're very proud of that. We celebrate each other every day and the successes that we have in our classrooms. You can also see from our enrollment from 2016, we have over 57% of our population is on free and reduced lunch, and 23% are English language learners, and that just goes to enhance our building and enhance the learning that takes part every day at Apollo. Here's some of the fantastic highlights that we've had over our years. Our AP psychology class has beat the national AP average 15 plus years. If you ask Mr. Barrett, he'll say he's beat it every year. We've had a female student awarded and participate in Girls Nation. So that's, normally we have Girls State. From Girls State, they nominate a student, and we've had a girl participate in that. We've also had 2 male students awarded and participated in Boys Nation, and 2 of those boys from that Boys Nation earned the $20,000 American Legion Award scholarship for university, one of which was last year. Apollo High School has also had a Rhodes Scholar. We've had a student earn, at least one student, as I was corrected today, have a perfect score on the ACT test, and also we've had a student earn a perfect score on the SAT. Last year, we had 3 students, 2016, earn the National Merit Semifinalist Commended status. We take education very serious at Apollo. Our students work very hard, and we each set individual goals and dreams for our students. Over the last 2 years and this year, we've had a school improvement plan so we could really focus on learning. This year, we created a target page with our school leadership team, which is staff and our assistant principals and myself. And one of the pages is that we are going to work collectively as a school to focus on strategies and learning that drive our instruction decisions. By that, we have staff meet weekly in data teams that are organized and course specific, that they can analyze what they're teaching. They give pre-test and post-test and look at where the students are struggling and where they're having success, so that can drive the instruction in the classroom. The leadership team then creates professional development around our school improvement plan. This year's focus is on finding the main idea in every core subject so students understand. Last year's was vocabulary. This year we're focusing on being able to understand the main idea that the text is in the book, what the text is trying to get their point across, so our students can understand that, so as they go to take tests or as they're having conversations in the classroom, they know what's being asked of them. We also look very hard at analyzing students' results using formative and summative assessment. We focus a lot on the STAR benchmark assessment in reading and math because it's given 3 times a year for our 9th and 10th graders, and we review that data, and then we have professional development ongoing this year to analyze and dig deep into that data so our students understand where they're going and how they can improve. And it's based on their individual score, and then they can see how they compete or compare against others across the nation that have the same score that they do, so that all students can look to do better for themselves, but also across our nation. And then the teachers monitor that student progress and work with them on that. And then ultimately we want them to have timely feedback. We realize that an instructor having 150 essays to grade, that's going to take a little bit of time so that they can give them the feedback they deserve. But ultimately we want Skyward, which is our tool that we use for parents to reach out, is to get that timely feedback weekly. We've also integrated Schoology, and if you come by tomorrow, we have 2 sessions more on professional development to enhance that tool that we integrate into our classrooms. And we use the word parent-teacher conferencing because we hope that all of our parents can get to our teachers whenever they would like through email, phone calls, or personal contact. We do student conferences, but ultimately we want to be able to reach out and touch families whenever they have the opportunity to want to reach out to us. Here's some student supports that we offer at Apollo. We have, in the start, all these are open to a wide variety of students based on their need, but we have our multi-tiered system of support team that meets weekly and looks at strategies for students. We have a Bridges program, which is building relationships and independence with direct guidance and engagement for success. We have advisories for all of our students, but we have tiered advisories for students that might need a smaller advisory so they can get additional academic help from the teacher. And we also have large advisories for the students that don't feel that that's right for them. We have an Eagle Study Club. We wrote a grant and received it again this year. We have after-school study the second half of each try with our teachers after school, partnering with Dreamline, which new this year, which will meet with the students 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, till 5 o'clock after school. We have a literacy lab for students that need an extra scoop of English that they'd like to take, and we can reinforce some strategies that will help them. We have social emotional lessons that we deliver monthly to all the students in our building. We have a chemical and mental health in each building now, and chemical comes 2.5 days a week, and mental health we always have available for our students who need it. We've added and enhanced our focus and reflection room this year. We have our partnership with St.Cloud State University ongoing with tutors and a room for help called Access and Opportunity. Our Dreamline is new this year with the Sine Foundation. We've added a 9th grade class of AVID this year. We have our Orion Academy, which is a partnership for high school students who want to enhance their math and science that allows Apollo students to earn college credit from St. Cloud Technical and Community College as they are engaged in hands-on experiential activities to develop an interest in STEM activities. So all of our students have the hope and dream that they can go to the post-secondary option that they would like if that's what they choose. Here's our behavior data from last year. So last year, all of our percentages are based on an enrollment of 1,438 students. We're a PBIS school. We take that very serious. We work together. We have our SOAR matrices in all the rooms. The students can probably tell you a lot about that. They help create those. But 1,152 of our students at Apollo last year had 0 or 1 office discipline referral. 13% of our students had between 2 and 5, and 7% of our students had 6+ office discipline referrals. If you walk our halls and feel it, you can see that our students are engaged in their learning. They help each other. They work very hard as a student union, as they'll talk later about anti-bullying. We want students to feel successful. We want them to get along and have partnerships, but also have friendships in our commons, and they do that very efficiently, as you can see from our data.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Noah Kramer, and I am the Student Council President at Apollo High School. First, thank you for allowing my classmates and me to present at today's meeting. Hopefully we can add some valuable insight. That being said, Apollo is special to me because it is filled to the brim with opportunity. We have tremendous choices in classes we take. Similarly, students have a plethora of choices for extracurriculars, including varsity athletics, theater, and special interest clubs such as Rock Climbing Club or Green Club, just to name a few. This allows students to get involved in things they are truly passionate about and enriches their high school experience. Apollo seems to have a reputation of being a subpar school, but that is not the reality. Apollo is full of extremely bright, determined, and respectful individuals, which are reflected in our consistently high-performing alumni. Also, I'm proud of where Apollo and Apollo graduates have been, honored to be an Eagle now, and eager to see where Apollo and its current students are headed. Today, we are going to take a look at where we are, where we're going, and take a small glimpse of history.
Today, the students are working on a lab, a macromolecule food testing lab, where they're taking 3 different types of food and testing for protein, lipids, and sugars.
We try to incorporate more hands-on labs and technology into our curriculum too to make it more relevant for students, along with real-world problems and issues related to our topics.
Today on the Respect Retreat, we were hanging out with all of the freshmen class of 2020, basically empowering students to remember that they matter, that they have a voice to respect other people, and then they have a voice to do something when they see disrespect.
Proud to be a student at Apollo because there's a lot of diversity and everyone treats each other with respect.
There's no bullying. The diversity that's here, the sports, the coaches and teachers care about me.
Teachers care about me and my education. And to be part of the Apollo Student Union, we make sure that there's no bullying at all and that everyone gets along well.
This is our 16th year of teaching AP Psychology. Every year we've been above the national average, and I think the big reason is because we've collaborated between Tech and Apollo, and 2 teachers teach 1 class, and that makes us unique.
I think part of the reason why we have such great retention is that the students start in 7th grade. I get to keep them all the way through 12th grade. We really become kind of a big family. It's a big community. They learn to work with each other as a team.
And what makes the Apollo Orchestra so great is that it's a really good group of people that you're with, and we're always very supportive of each other and helping each other get better and better.
Apollo presents a lot of great opportunities. It's a great community as well, whether it's sports or academics. There's always a sense of togetherness and community, which is just the school as a whole, I would say.
In our metals classes, we do a little bit of welding, some sheet metal, some turning or machining, and then regular milling. And we have just started to revive those classes, and we've had a lot of industry support. We've received thousands of dollars lately from the precision manufacturers and the Central Minnesota Manufacturing Association to help revive those programs.
I'm looking forward to carrying on the tradition here at Apollo. I have 2 children that will be coming here in the fall next year, and I'm looking forward to that.
Apollo proud.
Apollo proud!
Apollo proud!
Apollo proud!
Apollo proud!
Good evening. My name is Kara Winters, and I am here to share with you why I feel that Apollo is a great high school. My teachers inspire me to do my best, and they provide guidance, friendship, discipline, and empower me to excel as I try to reach my dreams. Someday I hope to help the world in the field of medicine. I don't know what yet. And Apollo helps all students, and I am here to say thank you for caring for us. And now I'd like to introduce Mr. Stockinger.
Thanks very much. So, again, my name is Matt Stockinger. Adam invited me here just to give you a little snapshot of some of the wonderful things that are going on in the Apollo Science Department, just to give you a closer view, I think, of what's going on. So, I'm really, really proud to be part of this department. I've been in the department. This is my 4th year. One of our great strengths is that we offer an extremely broad variety of courses. A typical sequence in science for a high school student is to start with a 9th grade physical science course, then go on to biology in 10th grade, then chemistry, and then physics senior year if you're going to take science for all 4 years. Just within that standard sequence at Apollo, we offer maybe 4, sometimes 5 different options for each one of those levels. Okay, just at Science 9 alone, we have a course that's customized for English learners. I teach 2 sections of that. We have a regular ed Science 9 course. We have an honors. We have a Science 9 that's part of the Bridges program. You know, long story short, we really care about customizing our curriculum and our education to the individual needs of all the students that we have coming through our department. Beyond that, we offer several elective science courses. Katie Herbold teaches Principles of Biomedical Sciences. We have, I've been in talks with Angel Freilich. She and I are thinking about putting together a food chemistry course. We've got Marcia Handel teaches several different courses, the health internship, health careers course, and human anatomy and physiology, where students in all of those courses get real experiences, authentic experiences in the medical sciences. So we're very proud to be able to offer all of these different courses to our students. To my knowledge, no other school in central Minnesota, possibly with the exception of Tech, offers this wide variety of science courses. Another thing we're extremely proud of at Apollo is that last year our MCA science scores went up by an astonishing 19%. The state improved by less than 1%. As Adam pointed out earlier, we had a big focus in the building about vocabulary. Our science teachers, we took a look at our results and had a lot of honest conversations with each other about where our weaknesses were, and have spent quite a lot of time in the past year or two addressing those weaknesses, and the test scores have borne out the results. So at this point, Apollo's MCA science scores are now better than the state average, whereas prior to last year we lagged by over 10%, I believe. So again, we're very proud of that. So here's a couple of snapshots I took. I asked my colleagues, what labs are you doing in the last couple of weeks? I grabbed my camera. I took all these pictures. These aren't, believe it or not, cherry-picked activities. These are things that happen every week in the Apollo Science Department. So this is part of that Principles of Biomedical Sciences class. This is obviously a forensics lab where students get to analyze a potential homicide here. Those same students later on, that doesn't go with this picture, but I had witnessed them. They were doing blood drop ballistic analysis, looking at the size of blood splatters from accident scenes, which again is a very authentic thing that a forensic scientist would do. This is a photograph of a sample that one of the teachers brought in as part of a stations lab, and this was right at the beginning of the year when students were learning how to make observations and really think like scientists, and learn to make observations with the detail that's required of a scientist. This is back from that forensics class again, student looking at one of those bodily fluid samples. Another student here, a couple days later, they had placed fingerprints on various objects, and they were learning how to lift fingerprints and interpret them. So again, authentic activities. This happened in the exact same week as that other forensics lab. This is in my class. This gentleman, probably the best dancer in my class, he is outside dancing his way across the sidewalk as the other students are learning how to measure and calculate the average speed of a moving object. This is the same lab, a couple other students working on that same thing. In my chemistry class, I recently gave a lab practical exam where students were asked to give me the volume of a liquid accurate to 100th of a milliliter. So, again, using authentic tools that chemists actually use in the field. This is that same lab. I also teach a coding course. This just started last year with Matt Sayers, and I took over it this year, so this is kind of the computer science end of things. And what you're seeing right here are two creations by my students. And the task was to write some code to create some art. And this is what they came up with. I have a whole website full of these. It's eaglescoding.com. If you're interested in seeing more of these, you can go check it out. But all of the products that the students created were equally as impressive as this. That class, what did you say? There was only one section last year? Wow, okay. So as of this year, the computer science department, the enrollment has grown fivefold. And I'm currently working on getting an AP class for next year as well, so we'll hope to continue to grow that. And last but not least, I started the rock climbing club last year, and I know that's not exactly science department, but being a science teacher, I thought I'd put a plug in for that. I don't know of any other school in the area. Even Little Falls and Royalton, who have climbing walls, don't have a climbing club. So this is a picture from our last trip 2 or 3 Saturdays ago to Taylor's Falls on the St. Croix River. So there's a snapshot of what's going on in Apollo Science. Were other teachers to be up here today from Apollo, I think they would have equally impressive things to report from their departments. And I appreciate your time in letting us show you.
Good evening. My name is Clifton Patterson. I'm a sophomore at Apollo. Apollo is a fantastic school, very diverse school, and a very important school to me. My teachers have instilled a passion in me and what inspires me. Apollo fosters my desire to examine the sports medicine field that I am looking into with an emphasis in business. The staff cares about me and not only how I do on the test. I am proud that I will graduate from Apollo. Thank you.
Hello and good evening. My name is Jinder Sirad and I'm a junior at Apollo High School. John Lennon has once said that when he was 5 years old, his mother always told him that happiness was the key to life. When he went to school, they asked me what he wanted to be when he grew up. He wrote down happy. They also told him that he didn't understand the assignment, and he told them that they didn't understand life. It is obviously too bad that he didn't go to Apollo High School and our teachers understand us. Thank you.
Thank you for having us present tonight. Our students wanted to make sure that as you come to our school, especially on Fridays, we celebrate school spirit so that you have something to wear as you come into our hallways. Is there any questions that you might have for us at this time? If not, thank you so much. Oh, there is a question. Would you like the kids to come up? Okay.
Well, I'm kind of just blown away and impressed. I mean, I know all this stuff, but when you see it all together, it's just really impressive. And just proud to be on a school board with all of you as our students and teachers like this. Pretty exciting.
So, this is why I say all the time, I wish I had your futures. Some of you know exactly what I'm saying. I wish I had your futures. Matt, I wish I had your future as a teacher. I do. I watch you and describe what you do every single day and what you're hoping to do in the future. I remember a young guy a long time ago, didn't look exactly like you, but his heart was just where your heart was.
Lucky for him.
No, it's to your advantage. But his heart was in teaching, and it made a difference in his life. And he hoped that he made a difference in the lives of his students. That's why I say I wish I had your futures. You young students, if we were to be given, I like to say what Mr. Von Korf says. This is what I learned from him, many, many things. But one of the things he said to me years ago is, I heard him say that, if you gave me a shot of truth serum and I was forced to tell the truth, well, that's what I'm saying to you right now. If you gave me a shot of truth serum and I was forced to tell the truth, I would say that your preparation, from what I gather, is going to allow you, all of you 4 students and all of your colleagues, to get any place you want to get in your lifetime right from here. Don't you forget that. Mr. Stockinger, what a joy you have to go back. Even if it's a Friday tomorrow, you get to go back to work at the end of a week, your long week, and work with these kids. Mr. Holm, what a job you have to oversee all this and operationalize it. What a great school you have. I might say the exact same thing later when Mr. Eisenreich is up here, and I would mean it just as much. But thank you for this inspiration this evening to this old teacher, but this young man at heart. Appreciate it.
Thank you. This is tremendous. Thank you, Adam. It was just wonderful. Thank you. Mr. Superintendent.
I have a question directed for the teacher that you described, Mr. Mose. And so I'm taking a chance, but I'm going to ask the question because I've recognized that he has skills. So I'm going to ask this question. What would a renovated Apollo do for you as a teacher?
First, I'd like to reiterate what Clifton stated. In practical chemistry, for example, I teach a group of 37 fantastic students, and they're extremely well behaved. So I'm fine with that. However, the room in which I teach was designed for 25 people. And so, unfortunately, I'm not the person who gets harmed by that. It's the students. If I want to do a fantastic student-centered experiment, it's extremely difficult for me to achieve that in a way that, to put it bluntly, I have to use very large student groups of 3 and 4 when I would very much prefer to use pairs instead of 4s. And my seating is totally inflexible, so if I want to do a roundtable discussion in my classroom, we certainly can, but I can't put my tables in the round, as I'd wish to, because we don't have flexible seating, because the room was designed as a lab space, decades ago, and it was not designed for lecture at all. So Renovated Apollo would give us flexible spaces, and that's what the design is intended to do. And with those flexible spaces, I could do, I mean, it would open many doors for me. It would allow me to do many things that I want to do that I simply can't do given the space restrictions that I have right now. Furthermore, I may be making a little bit of a jump here conceptually, but I recently read a research paper looking at hospitals, and the paper had a result that kind of shocked me. I walked into the St.Cloud hospital. It was when my last child was born about a year ago, and I was really struck by how expensive the interior materials were. I thought, geez, this is such a fancy hospital. And I thought about healthcare and all this talk you hear about in the news, and I thought, do we really have to spend all this money on the hospital? Well, then a month later, I see this study, and the shocking result was that fancy hospitals actually result in improved health outcomes for the patients. That spending all that money on all that granite and all those fancy building materials actually makes the patients healthier. I don't know how, but there's a correlation that was found there. And I don't think it's too big of a stretch to think that if we have a building that is beautiful, that is flexible, that is designed from the ground up to teach in 21st century style, that if we have something that we can be proud of as a community, that our outcomes for students are also going to improve. I mean, if simply building a fancy hospital can make people healthier, then I think building a fantastic high school can also make student learning improve as well.
And so I'm listening to that answer, and so I'm so glad that I asked that question. I'm also glad that as I look to my right, your left, the newspaper reporter, Miss Jenny Berg, is sitting there. And so I'd love for her to be able to speak to you and the students. But your response to that, without that being staged or planned, and anybody that knows me knows that that was not staged or planned. Correct. But I would love to, when I listen to the way that you answer that, I instantly think about what your students are exposed to every day and the gift that you have. And so as a superintendent, I'm appreciative of that. I know that the students are, I know the principal is. But again, I'm going to look to my right and say, please talk to this young person. Thank you.
Let me give you one more thing, just in terms of science. I was reading a magazine today, and everybody knows what a 3D printer is, right? I was looking at a 3D printer that was about my size, that looked like a robot, that was building its own bridge. It started to build a bridge and then was building a bridge that probably would go from here to that doorway. But that's where science and technology and robotics has gone. The other point, and I don't want you guys trying this at home, some kid out in somewhere at a university has built a skateboard that's got motors on it and propellers on the bottom, and he broke the record, went 965 feet at 16 feet in the air on a skate. He made a platform with, it's like a drone, and he was standing on it just as cocky as you're standing right there now, saying, "Look at me." So, I mean, they said they'll be ready for sale to the public in 2017, but boy, let me tell you, that's something coming. But the world is changing. The hovercraft and all that kind of personal transportation things, we are behind the curve, way behind the curve in terms of what we can create opportunities for people to think about that they can't even think about right now. So I'll get off that. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.